Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be talking about reshaping and pivot tables. Let's get started. So today, when we're talking about pivot tables, we're talking about data that is usually, again, when we have this data, it's usually called a stacked or a record style format, and then we want to pivot to some sort of table. We have, for example, some index column here. We'll have some columns that we want to actually create and turn those into new columns. And then we also have a values. And so we'll always have something like the index, that's right here. And then we have, for example, our column names, which come from this bar column over here. And then we would have our values. And again, those are be the values in here. So we'll start out with this basic generalized example, looking at some time series data in here. Now, if we wanted to, for example, select just from our variable category here, we wanted to select all of the B columns, we would do something using the bracket notation, df, and then we'd have here, we want our variable, and we want everything that is equivalent to B. And we grab that in here, we see here we have 3 observations of B, and we get those rows out. Now suppose that we want to maybe do some time series operations with these variables, maybe a better representation where the columns are some sort of unique variables, and an index of the dates identifies individual observations, okay? Therefore, we would need to reshape this table, okay? And we do that with the DataFrame pivot method. Okay, there's also a higher level function of pivot, but we will be using the method. So for example, if we do something like df.pivot, and here we set our index, and we want this to be our date. As we said, we want this to be a time series, and the columns that we want to be using are going to be a variable, and then our values here are going to be value. Again, we made this example exactly as you can see here. It's in a very similar fashion, okay? And it's just, again, just a simplistic example. That's why we have this date variable value format here. And if we run this, now we see that we have our dates here, okay? And let me actually put in here the full data frame so we can see that, see what actually happened here. So you notice here that we have date, value, or variable and value with our date column. We still kept that date column, but there's only 3 unique dates here, okay? And then, for example, here you could think about this as company name or stock name, and then maybe the stock value. But now we split that up, so we have our dates here on the index, we have our company names up top, or our variable names up top, and then we have each individual series like we have just like this. And again, this is, again, you can feel like this is a little bit more compact in that reference. Now, if the value of this argument is omitted, okay, then the input for this data frame is going to be more of like one column of values, and it's not going to have the column or an index inputs for the pivot. So then the resulting pivot of this, okay, would be some sort of hierarchical columns. And the topmost level is going to be represented by the column. So let's actually do another bit of an example here. So let's say that we want df, and we'll have this as value 2, and we'll do something like df value, and here we want to just multiply it by 2. So let's look at, now we create a new one here, and if we do pivot, and here we do index is equal to date, and then we also do our columns, and this one we're going to call variables, or variable, sorry. We run this, notice here, now we have 2 sets. It's automatically taking up one value here, okay, one column value, and another value here, and then we have duplicates of our, for example, like our company variables here. Now we have 2 of these, so then we could actually go about doing something like value here and grab one set, or we could go in and do something like value 2, and we can grab that other set of data. So that's very helpful for us, and again, it would probably be advised to save this in something like df pivot vals, or vals, maybe. So then you can actually go through and save that and interact with it however you want. So for example, if you did this and instead of, again here we were creating and we did something by the column. So let's say that these are those variable columns, and then you had your values and you had two different types of values, then you're able to actually access those different types of values off of this very quickly. So for example, maybe these values were different variables that you're interested in. You could check them out by date along with their company type. So we also need to be able to kind of note that there can always be some errors in this, and always double check your work when you're doing this, particularly if, for example, that this is going to return values, all right, of the underlying data in a case where that the data is homogeneously typed. Okay, so it's only going to be that when we say homogeneous, it means it's just going to be that singular type, those common types of variables, such as the value or our value 2 here, such as this. The next portion we need to discuss is the stacking and unstacking of objects, okay, or of data frames. Now a stack is a pivot level of the column labels, and again you're going to return a data frame with an index of the new innermost level of row labels, and an unstack is going to be the inverse operation of a stack. So it's a pivot with a level of a row index to a column axis, okay, producing a reshaped data frame with the new innermost level. This is best done and talked about when we actually use some examples, okay. So here we have this example of a stack. So again, here you can see that we're going from a multi-index to a multi-index, okay, using the .stack method here. And again, if you notice here, what's happening is we're converting these two columns here to more of row type objects, okay, with values here. So this is just going to be on how you need your data reshaped or what you're wanting to do with the data. And unstacked, okay, so again, we're going from this more row intensive output to more of a column intensive output here with the multi-index. So let's actually go through and maybe do an example here. The stack function that we're going to look at here, think about it as a compression of the level of the data frame, okay? So columns are going to either produce a series in a column of a simple column index, or it's going to maybe create a data frame in the case of a multi-index of columns. So if, for example, we have a multi-index column like we see here, you can actually choose which level to stack. So again here, for example, this is the first level and this is the second level here. We can choose which level we want to stack. Now, if we just do df.stack, okay, we notice it doesn't, all it does is it does it by both columns here, okay? With a stacked data frame or series, again, having this multi-index that we have both here and here as well. Again, by default, it would potentially unstack, okay, the last index. So if let's just call this stacked really quickly here, or stacked, whoops, stacked. So if we take this stacked data frame here and we unstack, it's going to do just the last column, okay? So for example, here we have bar 1, bar 2, baz 1, baz 2, and again, all it's doing here is taking out these, whoops, did I do the right? No, I did not do the right data frame, and that's why nothing is making sense here. Okay, so if we unstack, again, we don't see there being anything in here, okay, because we haven't actually selected anything. But let's actually go through and do stack 1. Okay, now stack 1, okay, mind you, is this second column here because it starts at 0, 1. Okay, now if we want to unstack by this this first column, okay, so, or this first index, so let's do stacked dot unstack, and here we do 0. Okay, we can unstack in that way as well. So again, notice here it's taking this first column here and it's actually pulling them out to bar and baz. Now, if we also take a look again at some of these multi-indexes. So for example, let's go back to this first example when we're grabbing the technically the second stack. Okay, they do have index names, so we can go about this when we are unstacking data to do, let's say, stacked.unstack, and here we want to do it by the second index. We can do it by the names as well. I highly recommend doing it by the names because it makes it more reproducible and easier to read. It's a little bit more in human language rather than computer language. And again, that is assuming that everything is the same as well. So let's also notice again that the stack and unstack methods implicitly sort the index levels involved. Okay, so this is also going to hence a call, for example, to stack and then unstack, or vice versa, will result in a sorted copy of our original data frame. Again, they do sort them. So for example, here is A and B, and here again 1, 2. Again, this is just going to be, this is just this happenstance here that it's in alphabetical order. Now let's look at, maybe start talking about, again, we've shown here multi-level indices, okay, but we haven't actually gotten into talking about them in depth. So let's get started on that. Now in this example for our multi-index, so we can always stack and unstack more than one level at a time. So this is multi-index on multiple cases here. And again, one level at a time can be passed into a list of, and you can get this nice creation that we have here. Now, one thing that we can do by stacking this, we can grab multiple indices by the stack level. So we can do something like df.stack here, and then we have our level. And we want to do something by, for example, by each type of animal. And we want to also do it by their hair length. And so notice here that whenever it grabs everything, it takes this animal line and this hair length line, and it turns those into our indices that we have here. Now the list of levels that can contain either level names or level numbers, but again, you cannot mix the two. So again, if you try and do animal here and then 1, you'll wind up getting an error. So make sure that when you are using your stack and unstack methods that you make sure that everything matches up. So again, here we can do level, and if we do something like 1, 2, we can run that and get the same output that we have, okay? But this is numerical, so a numeric index here, and then here we have, you can say a string index or a named index. Okay, so just be careful and make sure that you keep consistent in what you're using whenever you're programming data. The next type of reshaping function we're going to look at is melt. So with melt, this is again, think about this as a more of a top level function, or again a method that we're going to be using, and it takes and it kind of massages a data frame into a format where one or more of the columns are these identifier variables, while all the other columns are going to be considered measured variables and are unpivoted, okay, to a row or axis. So this is going to leave the two non-identifier variable columns as variable and value. And again, the names of these columns, again, we can customize them by supplying a var name and value name. So let's take a look here at a cheese example here, okay? Or we just call it cheese for melted cheese. So we have first name, last name, height, weight, and then we want to maybe melt this. So we have here cheese.melt here, and let's do ID vars, and here we can do first and last, and we run this. Notice nothing's really going to do too much here besides contribute to, with these two stayed the same, okay, as columns, but everything else changed into a variable and a value statement. Now we can also, again, just as we did before, we wanted to maybe change one of the names here. So let's do something like cheese.melt, and we want our ID vars here, and we're going to still do first name and last name. And then we're also going to do a var name here, and let's do quantity, or let's do quant. Here, and notice here that this this variable name here changed to quantity. Again, we can also change the val name as well, and so then maybe let's just say, let's change that value name to metrics. Okay, and so here then you would have maybe your quantities and then your metrics, or your quantifiers and your metrics. So we can also do a couple other different examples in here, but I think it's probably best if we leave it off here for now, and we'll go back through and let's talk about maybe combining stats and group by objects to when we start using pivot tables. And that will be in our next video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.